The sound of glass shattering wasn't the first thing that broke that night. It was me. Her voice, trembling and sharp, echoed through the kitchen. "Why can't you just trust me for once, Ariv?" The words cut deeper than any accusation could. I stared at the wine glass fragments scattered across the marble floor, red wine crawling toward my feet like spilled blood. It wasn't the mess that bothered me. It was the lie hiding behind her anger. For months something had felt off. The late-night texts she dismissed as office messages, the hushed phone calls that always ended when I walked into the room, the way she flinched whenever I tried to touch her. It all painted a picture I was too scared to see clearly. And yet I stayed silent. Because love makes fools out of all of us. 3 hours earlier, I had been in my car, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. My best friend, Karen, had sent me a photo. "Bro, I'm not trying to interfere, but you deserve to know." The picture showed my wife, Mira, standing outside a cafe, laughing, her hand resting a little too comfortably on another man's chest. The man was her colleague, the same one she'd claimed to despise for being too flirty. I stared at the image for what felt like hours, my throat dry, my stomach twisting in on itself. I could have confronted her right there, but I didn't. I just drove home, every second replaying the image in my head like a scene from a nightmare. When she walked in later that evening, pretending everything was normal, a casual smile, the scent of her favorite jasmine perfume filling the air, I finally snapped. "Where were you?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. She blinked, caught off guard. "Office dinner. I told you, remember?" "Dinner," I repeated. "With your colleague." Her smile faltered. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the guy whose hand you couldn't seem to keep off today." I pulled out my phone and tossed it onto the counter. The picture glared up from the screen, undeniable. Her face went pale. It's not what it looks like," she stammered, fumbling for words. He's going through a tough time." I was comforting him. Comforting him? I laughed bitterly. By touching him like that? By lying to me? She slammed her palm against the counter. "You don't understand, Ariv. You never do." I took a slow step forward. "Then make me understand, Mira. Please. Because right now, it looks like the woman I married is in love with someone else." Her lips trembled, but she said nothing. Silence, heavy and suffocating, filled the space between us. Mira wasn't always like this. When we met 5 years ago, she was light itself, full of laughter and warmth, painting color into my gray world. She had this way of talking that made everything feel possible. When she said yes to me under a rain-soaked streetlight, I thought I'd won the universe. But somewhere between the bills, deadlines, and quiet resentments, something shifted. She started staying late at work. I started drinking more. We stopped talking about dreams and started talking about obligations. I guess we both forgot how to love the way we used to. Still, betrayal. That wasn't supposed to be part of our story. "You've changed, Mira," I said finally, my voice barely above a whisper. Her eyes glistened, but there was anger behind the tears. "You think you're the only one who's hurt here. You shut me out long before I ever talked to him. So this is my fault now." "It's not about blame," she shouted, her voice cracking. "I was lonely, Ariv. You were here but not really here. You stopped seeing me." I took a breath that burned all the way down. "So you found someone who did." Her silence answered for her. That was the moment the glass fell from her hand and shattered. The same moment something inside me shattered too. We argued for what felt like hours. Words became weapons, and every sentence drew new blood. Finally, she screamed it, the sentence that would echo in my mind for years. "I regret every moment with you." Time froze. Her chest was heaving, her eyes red. She probably hadn't meant to say it, or maybe she had. Maybe the truth had just clawed its way out. I stared at her, the woman I once promised forever to, and all I could feel was an ache so deep it hollowed me out. Slowly, I reached for my ring, the one she had slipped onto my finger with trembling hands on our wedding day, and I pulled it off. "If that's how you feel," I said quietly, "then it's over forever." The metal hit the floor with a dull, final clink. She gasped, covering her mouth, but I didn't wait to see her tears. I turned, grabbed my jacket, and walked out before my own could fall. The night air outside was cold, almost cruel. I drove without thinking, the city lights blurring past. My phone buzzed, her name flashing again and again, but I couldn't bring myself to answer. I ended up at the old park where we'd had our first date. The swings creaked softly, the same ones she'd laughed on years ago, kicking her feet toward the sky. I sat on the bench, ringless, and stared at the emptiness beside me. That's when the grief came. Quiet, steady, unstoppable. People talk about heartbreak like it's a storm, but it's not. It's a slow drowning. Every memory pulls you under a little deeper. Her laugh, her scent, the way she'd rest her head on my shoulder during movies. You keep replaying it all, hoping it'll hurt less, but it never does. Days passed. She moved out quietly. The house felt like a graveyard, every room haunted by what once was. Sometimes I'd still get messages from her. I didn't mean what I said. I made a mistake. I miss you. I'd type out replies, long, messy, honest replies, but I never sent them. Because forgiveness doesn't rebuild trust. It only numbs it. Karen came over once with beers, trying to pull me out of it. You'll find someone better, he said. But I didn't want someone better. I wanted the woman who once looked at me like I was her whole world, before she found a different orbit. Months later I saw her again. The same cafe from that cursed photo. She was sitting alone this time, staring at her coffee, lost in thought. When she noticed me she froze, then smiled weakly. I nodded politely, but my heart stayed still. Whatever I'd felt for her had burned out, leaving only ashes. As I turned to leave she called out softly, "Arif, I really did love you." I looked back once, meeting her eyes. "Yeah," I said. "I really loved you too." And for the first time I meant it, without pain, without bitterness. Just truth. That night as I lay in bed, I realized something. Love isn't always forever. Sometimes it's just a season, beautiful, fleeting, and unforgettable. And when it ends, you don't fight to bring back what's gone. You let it rest, and you learn to live again. Because some stories aren't meant to be fixed. They're meant to be felt. And mine ended the moment she screamed those words. I regret every moment with you. I just made sure it stayed that way when I threw the ring and said, "Then it's over forever."